I think when it really sunk in was when we were there, and there were athletes everywhere. They looked so good and so fit, and yeah, I often said to the teammates, we're doing Godzone.
It's probably about this time last year the idea was mooted between the four of us. Yeah,
this is going to be a big commitment for everybody, for the whole family, for a long time.
I don't think we'd thought about it. It was such a big race at the time. You sort of go, oh yeah, that'd be really cool.
We were having a beer at Bernie's one night and Matt said, do you want to do Godzone? And I thought, yeah, we'll give it a crack for shits and giggles, and I had no idea what it was.
At that point I hadn't realised quite how much impact it would have with the amount of hours that they needed in training, and you know, how financially it was going to impact on everybody in the team. But yeah, it was a good experience.
For me personally, it was a good opportunity to be part of it as support crew, which was a lot of fun.
Matt rang me up sort of, I don't know, must have been about this time last year, and said, Bernie, you want to do Godzone? And I said to him, I might have to think about that. And then I sort of thought to myself, well, if I think about this, I'm not going to do it. So I said, oh well, yeah, no, count me in, I'm in, let's do it. And yeah, so I went from there.
We didn't really know what to expect or what was coming, and had we packed the right gear, if we got the right gear. We didn't know, because you don't know anything about any stage or anything, so I was nervous to the point of just about being sick before leaving here.
Yeah, we couldn't believe we were doing it, and we were there, and we were excited and nervous all at the same time.
Heard it goes off, and I knew it was going to be a run. I wasn't looking forward to a run along the beach because I'd rolled my ankle 2 weeks prior.
So we had a 35k kayak, I think it was, and we got out about 5k's out, and the boat that Bernie and Matt was in had been damaged the day before, and we didn't know, and Bernie was up to his knees in water. We were in the top 3 before we stopped. Yeah, that really sort of settled us down and calmed our nerves, because we went from a group of 3 at the front to pretty much dead last.
When we got up the top of Ben Nevis for that first alpine trek, we were going quite slow, but we were, because it was so clagged in, you couldn't see more than 20 metres in front of you. And for the entire rest of the trek, we never saw another soul when we came out the other end, and then they said we're in second place, so that was quite sort of remarkable.
When they came into the transition areas, they were asking after each other and making sure that each other was being looked after, and you know, you'd go to give somebody a hot drink and they'd say, oh, can you look after somebody else first? They need it more. So the support amongst each other was fantastic.
We turned up and there was shelter set up and hot food, and they organised us, so we sort of sat down and got fed, and all our gear was organised, and away we went on the next leg.
There was always a story to be told, or laughing and giggling, so that to us was a lot of ease. It was, it made it really special, really, to be able to be part of that with them.
There was a couple of times when Fee came in and she could hardly speak. She couldn't keep her eyes open. We would basically have to support her all the way into her chair, try and get some food into her, and then get her to her tent to sleep. And I thought there was no way that she was ever going to go back out on that course. She was in such a bad state.
You know, when you're walking for 20 hours, there's people there, not only people, the people who care about you, and they have everything there for you. You've got your hot food, you've got your sleeping quarters there, and you know, you're so well looked after. It's just such a relief.
But I knew that they'd done the training, and I knew that if she looked at me and said that she felt she could do it, I trusted her. But it was definitely hard seeing her in the state that she was, and then heading back out to potentially come back in the same state again in a few hours' time.
Sponsorship wise, they had phenomenal help. They not only paid for the entry fee to the event, but they also provided a vehicle for us to travel around in. And you know, the guys were travelling nearly 500 kilometres, but the support crew were having to do significantly more than that, with going backwards and forwards between places.
We were incredibly high, and we started 2 o'clock in the morning or 2:30 in the morning, and when we got to the summit on the first trek, it was an up and over. We were sort of way up in the Alps, and it was at daybreak, and it was just absolutely stunning. It was sort of picture book, postcard sort of material.
As the sun shone on us, it cast a shadow of each of us on the mountain beside us, and we were these massive, great big shadows. It was just quite surreal.
At the start, that was my main fear, was that one of us, or all of us, was going to have a moment at some point in time because of the sleep deprivation, etc. But we all had a little moment somewhere along the lines, but it was nothing major at all. We worked together really well, we helped each other out, and essentially had a hell of a lot of fun along the way.
There weren't actually any moments of animosity or pointed discussion or anything like that. We gelled really well as a team.
There was a tricky bit of navigation up through a farm and through some bush and stuff in the dark. Nailed that. That lifted everybody's spirits, and they were telling me how awesome I was and things like that. So that kind of helped.
Because of such sleep deprivation, you see strange things. We were walking along and Michael said, "Did anyone see Brainy Smurf?" And apparently Brainy Smurf had popped out and run across the track. And Matt, he said, we kept on saying those little flowers along the track, they keep on igniting and bursting into flame.
Yeah, nearly falling asleep on the bike, and sort of hallucinations and things like that started to creep in.
Opus consultants were absolutely fabulous with their sponsorship and how they treated us, and the vehicle, Brady Drainage and the Great Outdoors looked after us incredibly well whenever we needed supplies, etc. It's really hard for a business to give money out and get nothing in return, and we'd like to think that we gave them bang for their buck.
But just to get to the finish line and know that we'd just done something quite incredible, and not many people would actually choose to do something like that, and we knew we had so much support.
And then there was just an immense sensation of overwhelmingness. Just you sort of started to well up, and just the disbelief of what we've just achieved and what we've just been through.
Started feeling quite emotional in the boat. Matt was the same. Realisation, comprehension of kind of what you've just been through and how far you've gone in that last 4 days was phenomenal. We thought we'd do okay, but yeah, to be the second mixed team was awesome.
We had a massive crowd coming in just before Richie McCaw, so we probably had the biggest crowd of the lot. Put an entry in and we did it, and got my t-shirt, so it's fantastic.